Hi and welcome back. As usual, this is Simulator Player from Biim.Games. Today I want to show you how to create a map editor for your players. I take the chance to thank you for following me since I have reached 100 subscribers and I have over 6,000 visits on my channel. I consider this a goal that we have reached together because without your appreciation and support it couldn't have been possible. Therefore, thank you very much for that. Talking about this map editor, I want to show you what we're going to do today. So basically we have our map here and we want that the player can select one of these tiles here and replace the current tile on the map. So we want also to restrict this to only specific tiles. So if I'm clicking on these tiles with the desert background, I want it to be able to be placed only on the desert and not on the grass. Same thing for the grass one. I don't want them to be placed on the desert but only on the grass. Both of these kind of set of tiles shouldn't be able to be placed on the tiles where we have both desert and grass, because we don't want to alter this layout we have. So starting with some example, I'm going to select the sign. I can click it here, but I cannot place it here. Same thing with the cactus. I can replace a tile that is on the desert, and with this tile here I'm going to erase what we have here. Basically it's just a tile like this one, but it's just give the illusion of erase. Same thing with the grass tiles. Doesn't work, or seems that it's not working. But when you go with the stones, you can see that is working like those tiles similarly, but on the other way with the grass rather than the desert. And we can use this to delete. Okay, this will be very useful for you if you want to give to the player the chance to create a level editor or map editor or whatever, or also to create some kind of games like a tower defense, because you want to restrict some of these tiles or items only to a specific place of the map. Let's see how we can create this map. As you can see, I have already created a tile map here on our project, and I set up with this dimension. On this side I left some empty space. This green here is the background color or the layout. They set up from here. This one. And then I have used the tile map and I cut these little images to create a new object that is tile. The tile object is repeated and each frame is represented here. If I double click, I go inside, we can see the frames. So these are the desert tiles and these are the grass tiles. Then when I put here for each initial frame, I put the corresponding number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And the idea is that I'm going to select this during the game and the player is able to drop the images here to change the tile map. But before I proceed, I want to show you a new tool that I didn't explain in the previous video, that is this one for the rotation. So if I select a tile like this sign here, and now I unlock this layer with the tile map, as you can see I place it normally, but if I click here I rotate it anti-clockwise 90 degrees and I can keep pressing it and I flip it and again go around. This one of course is the same thing but clockwise. So this is a new tool that we can use as very useful as well. Now going back to the normal situation, I want also to show you the number of the tile. each of these tiles in the tile map, as you can see when I go over with the mouse, has a number. So this is the first tile that has first number 0, because in IT we always start with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until 17, for a total of 18 tiles. Now these numbers are very important, we'll see later on, because they let us understand which tile is exactly already on the game. And then we are going to modify the tile map using these numbers here. Let's go to the next step now. Okay, I'm going to fix this rotation here of the tile, otherwise it will be always wrong for next placement. And then unlock this tile map, and I'll go on the tile layer, and I create a new object. It's a new object, sprite, and I call it Selector. This object will be useful to show which tile are we using before placing on the tile map. So I will resize it like 36 by 36, and I give this a red color. And then since I want to give it 2 pixels of width, I'm going to just put some dots on the corner to make it easier selection. So I can go here. This is not just the best graphic tool, but it's still okay to do something quickly for experimentation. And then I just go to fill these squares. Okay, we have the selector now, and then I'm going to place it outside the screen. I introduce now a new object, that is the mouse. Right click, insert new object. You can just find it here. Mouse, we wait the usual 5 seconds, and that's it. Now, what are we going to do is that when we click with the mouse on one of these tiles here, we move the selector at the exact position of the tile. So we go on event sheet, and let's add the new event. Mouse on object clicked. As you can see, there are different options here: left, middle, right click, single click, double click. We leave it in this way, and we choose when we click on the tile, the action is the selector set position at tile.x for the x and tile.y for the y. So in this case, once we click on the tile, the selector will move at exactly the same coordinate of the tile that we have just clicked. Let's have a look. And it's working. Now, just a quick note: since these tiles has the same dimension of the selector, make sure that the selector is above the tile in the Z order. Otherwise, you're not going to see the selector. It will be behind and you never notice anything. So if it doesn't work, try to have a look at this. Let's move on. Then we go back to construct 2. The event sheet here, we have the new event with the mouse on object clicked as before. This time we select the tile map. Now we add the action, tile map, and set tile. So we have different options here. We skip for the moment these two, and we go on tile. So tile 0 is actually the number of the tile we saw before here. If you remember, I was telling this tile number 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So if I leave it at 0 and I leave it in this way, I'm going to replace on the tile map the tile at 0, 0. That is this coordinate here. Now, how those coordinates works? The coordinates on the tiles is that start as usual on the top left, so 0, 0 is here, and for each tile is one point of the coordinate. So this tile here is 0, 0, this one will be 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, and so on, and going down we will have 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so on. So the point of the coordinate on the coordinates is not related to the pixels, but to the number of tiles. So if I click with the mouse here, anyway on the tile map, this tile will change with the tile 0, that is this one. And let's have a look. I click here, and as you can see, this tile at 0, 0 has been changed with the tile number 0. That is this one. See, 0. Okay, let's go on and let's change this. Now, just to demonstration, I can write 5, 0 as coordinate and click it quickly. And we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 tile number 5. That's the 6th tile. Again, we go back to event sheet and we change it. Now, I'm doing this step by step, so it's easier for you to understand how all this works. We double click here, and I'm going to write the value of the tile X is equals to, let's use this expression object, much easier, Tilemap, so we don't have to remember. So we search the expression related to the tile map, and we go to position to tile X, convert an X coordinate to a tile index, and this way we leave to 0. So we want to convert 0 to the coordinate, will be still 0, but as I said before, I'm just doing this step by step to let you understand easily. Then we change this Y with the same thing, replacing the Y. Now I'm going to click, and we should still see this 0 and 0 coordinate change, and it's working fine. Back to construct. I show you the next step now. Now we are going to replace this information here that can be used with any variable or any value we want to add with the coordinate of the mouse, mouse.x, and this mouse.y. Now if I run, anyway I click, it converts the coordinates of the mouse, and it will count which tile is it in the tile map. So I can just easily click anywhere now, and that tile will be converted. Go back here, and let's do something new. I'm going to add a new global variable, and I call it selected tile, numerical 1. Okay. Now every time I click on the tile, I want to get the information to know which tile is that. So before going to do this, we need to go to the tile and add an instance variable, and I call it Tilemap. Now we go on the layout here, and for each one of these tile we give the correspondent tilemap number that we can find it here. So in this case we have the desert ones that are 9, 12, and 15. So we go on this one and we just type 9, then 12, and 15. Then we go back to see the grass one, 4, 16 and 17. And we go here 4, 16 and 17. So now each time I'm going to click on one of these tiles, I want to get the value of tilemap. So in this point here we have the new action, system, set value of selected tiles to tile.tilemap. That is our instance variable we just created. From this point, now we know exactly what is the tile that we click here that has a correspondent value on the tile map here. And then the next step is to add another variable. Actually, before we do this, I just show you this how it's working. So we said here we click with the mouse and we're going to replace with tile 0. Now we're going to replace it with selected tile. And clicking on one of these tiles here, we're going to replace it. Now another thing I want to show you before moving forward is this option here we skipped before, is the state normal. Means that when I'm going to change the tile like I just did, the new tile has to be normal, but I can change this to make it flipped or rotated or both. I make one quick example, and let's try. I select one tile, and as you can see, it's rotated 90 degrees. Okay, let's put this as normal, and let's add the new variable I was talking before. This time I call it tile clicked, or click tile, same, click tile. Okay. At this point, we want to make sure that we don't have this issue here. The issue is that at the moment I'm placing any tile anywhere. So I'm placing this desert tile anywhere, even on the grass. We don't want to do this. We want to restrict the player to place some tiles only in specific point. So we don't want to have the desert tile on the grass, and neither any of those tiles in something that is in between, a tile that has a little bit of grass and a little bit of desert. To do this, we need to put some restrictions. I leave this as it is now, and I duplicate the line, but I disable this so we can still go back in case we mess up the code. It's easy to go back, and at the same time we can keep an eye out what's different the code before. So from here, add a sub event, and I make a check. First of all, I disable this because we will use later, and then we go on the system and we say every time the tilemap is clicked, set the value of the click tile to, as we said before, tilemap tile at, we go here, we search for at, tile at, this 0 is just the leftover from the default code, don't worry about that. And here we're going to use the same part of code that we have used here. So the coordinate x and y of the tilemap at, so the position of the tile in the tilemap, will be tilemap dot position to tile X, and the X in the specific is the coordinate of the mouse, as exactly as we did before. Then we copy this, that is the X information, we paste it on the Y, and we replace the X with the Y. Okay, so now we have that each time we click on the tilemap with the mouse, we give to the variable click tile the correspondent value of the tilemap that we just click at the tile, at the coordinate of the mouse where we are. A little bit complicated, but reading here you should be able to understand. So now we know exactly that when we click one of these, the value is stored on the selected tile. When we click anywhere on the tile map, we get exactly the value of the tile, and we put it in the, we store in the click tile. So now we can compare these two variables to know if the tiles that we are going to put in the tile map are compatible or not. So from here, we say system, compare variable. If click tile is equals to 9, there was the desert tile, then we change this to O. So if the click tile is, I will show you again, 9, 12 or 15, so we duplicate this and we write 12, 15. Then we go to the next step. The next step is, if this is happening, we click on the tile map, we get the variable, then we check if the click tile is one of those three types, and then we compare that if the click tile is compatible with these three here. So if the value of the selected tile, in this case we just drag it and replace, easier, select tile is equals to 9, and then we make again O and duplicate 12 or 15. Then if this is true and this is true as well, then at this point we can do the code as was at the beginning, as we did here. Then we give a permission to change the tile, and then we duplicate this and we do the same thing with the other tiles that are the grass one, that have value of 4, 16 and 17. So we change this to 4, 16 and 17. Same thing here, 4, 16 and 17. Go back to the code and the layout, and let's test. Now I'm going to select this tile. It's not working on the grass, it's not working where the tile is a little bit, and here seems it's not working, but reality is working, just is the same tile. We can see with the sign, for example, here is not working, here not, and here is working. Same thing with the cactus, nothing here, here is working. Click on top of another tile of the desert type, we're going to replace it. Then with this one we're going to erase and restore as it was before. Same thing with the grass. Here it's working, but we cannot see. It's not working. Stone, no. Flowers, yes. Replacing, no. And the grass empty tile is working. So this is very useful, not only if you want to give to the player chance to create their own levels, but also if we create a specific game where the player needs to have some restrictions. So if this game is for example a tower defense, and I can put towers only on the desert tiles, for example this is a tower, I can put the tower here because the enemies will go to pass on the grass, but not here because I don't want that the player block the path of the enemies. So this is one example. Of course you can have multiple different kind of games that you can use this technique, but I think it's just up to you, and this is just a very useful editor you can use. In the future I'm going to create a more advanced one. I'm going to release as a template, and all the person that support me on Patreon that have a level as a guard or above, they're able to download for free this template with a new function that we'll see in the future. Okay, that's it for now. If you have enjoyed the video, click on like. If you haven't yet, subscribe on my channel to see new videos. Once you have subscribed, you can click on the bell to receive a notification every time I post a new video. If you want to see more of my project, you can join me on Patreon at patreon.com/Biim.Games with a 2i. Let me know in the comment what you think about this video and if you have specific requests for future videos. Thank you, see you next time. Bye.